Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those who are tuning in for the first time, my name is Sonia.
No such thing as a life that's better than yours. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. Love yours. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. No such thing, no such thing.
We're finally going to be talking about my debt and how I plan on paying it off. For those who actually want to know the story on how I got myself into this predicament, I'm going to leave it in the description down below. If you guys would like to read how I got into the situation that I am in now, feel free to look at the description and read it. We're going to go ahead and get started with this video. The first thing we're actually going to do, I have this file that I made. I'm going to fill in all the information because this is the start of my journey paying it off. Of course, I've been making payments on my credit card, and obviously like you guys have seen that in my budget with me videos, because like I set money aside to do that. But we're actually gonna have start documenting it, and we're actually going to show where I started, eventually get that number down to 0. I've been actually doing pretty good. I believe before I even started budgeting and everything, my debt was up to like $6,800.
What?
I'm going to show you guys what it's at right now. So if you guys can look at the screen, this is actually what all my debt is right now. $4,900. Like I said before, I originally started at like $6,800. Even on here, I believe you're not going to be able to see it from there. I was using another app before, and I was tracking my finances from like 2020. But they switched over with a new company, so I don't have that information anymore. So that sucks. On here, it only goes as far back as February 3rd, 2024. And on here, it says I was at $5,200. But last year in 2023, my highest was like $6,800. I might even have screenshots of my thing being that high, but if I have screenshots, I'm gonna post it on the screen. I told you guys before, I have the 2 credit cards. I have another credit card that's open, but that's only for doctors and stuff like that. I'll use that and pay it off. Like the last time I used it was to get my new glasses, and I paid that off with that card. The only ones that I use frequently is the Navy Federal card and the Capital One. In the Navy Federal, we have $4,600 that we still owe, and then the Capital One we still owe $300. So this is actually the one that I've been tackling to pay off, and then once we finish this one, we're going straight to that Navy Federal credit card. I'm gonna go ahead and add that information into our debt overview. We're gonna do Capital One first. The interest rate on this Capital One card is actually 0. I explained it before in my credit 101 video, how when you open a credit card, a lot of times they give you a time period in which you will have a 0% APR rate. I opened this card November of 2023, but I think they gave me like 18 months, so I don't technically get charged interest on this card until March 2025, and I definitely plan on having this card paid off by then. If anybody knows, Capital One's interest rates are through the roof. So they are one company you do not want to owe money to, for real, because their interest rate is so high. So I definitely plan on having this card paid off by then. So the interest rate on that card is actually 0. The total amount I owe was what, $309? Let me actually write this down so I don't have to keep going back and forth. Let me get a little sticky note. So Navy is 460,924. Capital One is 30908. Okay, so this is so I don't have to keep switching back and forth. $309.08. They do give me a minimum amount to pay every month, and that's just $25. And then now we're gonna get into the Navy Fed. The interest rate on this one, I believe, is 14%. I'm not sure. Let me see if I can pull it up. Yeah, let me see if I could pull up how much this interest rate is. My interest rate on this card is actually 16.24%. That's my interest rate. And the total amount due, I wrote it down, is $4,609.24. The minimum payment, I think last month was $110 and some change. So we're just gonna $111. So this is actually what we got to work with. This is not bad. Like, this is not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. Like, this is doable. Like I said, it's been worse. It's been worse. So I'm happy that it looks like this. I do not like owing anybody $4,000. I don't like owing nobody $300. The goal is to get this down. So the next thing that we're going to do is fill out the debt payment tracker. So let me go ahead and start doing that. The creditor, we're gonna do Capital One first. Starting balance. Since we're starting today, oh, I spelled that wrong. It's supposed to say starting balance, but it says starring balance. We're gonna fix that later, but just don't mind that. This is what we're gonna have documented. It's gonna be the $309.08. Like I said, the interest rate is 0. The minimum payment is $25, and then the statement date for this card, I'm trying to remember. I think it's the 7th. This one is the 7th. Statement date, we can say the 7th. We're not going to fill out the bottom because, you know, I haven't paid on it since my last paycheck. So it will be like my upcoming paycheck. Or when it's time for me to pay on the cards, I'll come back to this and fill it out. Since we're starting it, I just want to have everything like the basics filled out. So we just have to fill out like the bottom when the time comes. So the next one beside it, we're going to say Navy Federal. That starting balance is $4,609.24. The interest rate is 16.24%, 24%. The minimum payment, we can say, is $111, and this statement date is actually what? I know they're right around each other. The 8th. They're a day apart. So one's on the 7th, one's on the 8th. There we go. So right now we got that filled in. Monthly debt balance. Right now we are in August. At the end of August, I don't think I'm paying on my credit card with my next paycheck. So we might go ahead and close out this month. But like I said, let me go ahead and write this down so I don't have to go back to it later. I'm going to go back to this. So for the month of August, the balance is this right here. So this is actually the balance for my debt. This is how much I have in total, which is the $4,918. So let me get the calculator out. So $4,609.24. That is the Capital One credit card. And then we're going to add that was the Navy Federal credit card. Now we're about to add the Capital One, which is $309.08. So this is our balance. So this is actually the number that we are going to be starting with. And the goal is to get that number down. And we can, because we're going to. You know what I'm saying? So it says we actually paid $442 on our credit card since July 17th. So is that the number we're going to work with? I think so. I think that's the number we're going to work with. Okay, so I guess this is what we can fill out now. Sorry if my desk is squeaky. So we paid $442, and now our balance is now the $4,918.32. So this is what she's looking like right now. The goal for September obviously is to be less than, like the goal is always to be our balances to get lower and lower and lower and lower. And the more disciplined that we are, the more that can happen. So now we're going to scroll down to our debt payoff tracker. So this is the one for Navy Federal. As you can see, I have the Navy Federal logo right here so I can know which card is which. So this starting balance right here, this is actually the balance before I made my recent payment. So for you guys who watched my budget with me, when I made, I think that $115 payment, this was the balance before that, or whatever I paid on that Navy Federal. This was the balance before that. So that's where that number came in. So now we're going to fill in this because, like I said, our balance for the Navy Federal card currently is $4,600 and $4,609, and that is actually less than this amount. So we're going to fill in this. We're going to just color it in. So we got it colored in. So obviously when we get below $4,465, then we'll color the next line, and so on, so on, and so on. So now we're going to go to the next one, which is for Capital One. Scroll down. You can see the Capital One logo down here. This number comes from one of the last videos I did with my budget with me. That's the last time I guess I talked about my Capital One and the balance that it was. And since then I've definitely been paying on the card. So that is the last one that, like, you know, I can remember. So we're going to be coloring this one in because, like I said, the balance is now $309. So we're going to be coloring that. Which color should we use? Which highlighter color? We should do purple. Why not purple? So we're going to fill this in. This is actually like one of the most exciting parts, is like coloring, because it like shows your progress. So this is our jar. We have her filled in a little bit. All right, so the next time we'll put this in is when she goes below $205. Yeah, so this is what it looks like. This is what she looks like, guys. So now I guess we could talk about how I plan to pay this off. So I plan on using the snowball method. And if you guys don't know what the snowball method, I will have an explanation of it pop up on the screen. So basically, with the snowball method, you usually pay your lowest balance first, and then like you move on. So let's just say I had 4 credit cards. One balance was $100, one was $200, one was $5,000, and the other one was $1,000. You start to go to your smallest. You go from smallest to biggest. So it'll be the 100, the 200, the 1,000, and the 5. So that's in the order of which you're going to be paying it. So I'm going to be doing the snowball method. So I'm going to be paying my Capital One card first. So with that means I'm going to continue to make minimum payments on my Navy Federal credit card. And when it comes to my Capital One, I'm just going to be paying more on that one to get that one paid off the fastest. And then after that, we will go to the Navy Federal credit card and then just put our full focus on that one and getting that credit card paid off. So that is actually my plan for this. I've started this thing where paying my personal bills with my first check and then paying my household bills with my second check. So that's actually how I'm going to be paying it with my first check. So whatever money that I have left over to put towards my debt, obviously Capital One is always going to get the most because we're trying to pay this card off. To be honest, I might even try to take from my second check to pay it off because I want this over with. We're going to work on being patient, and you know, we're going to get it done. The goal is to get it done, and I'm super excited to finally tackle this. Like I've been tackling this for a while. My total debt was like $6,800. So to finally start to see the progress that I'm making, I'm excited to start documenting it because I know when I pay it off, like I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like I'm super excited. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm super excited for you guys to be on this journey with me, you know, because at the end of the day, we're all in this together. Everybody has, well, not everybody, but a lot of people have debt, and it can be a burden, you know what I'm saying? But it's also something like we did, and we have to pay for it. Like, we have to pay for it. We're gonna fill in our charts. I've never done that before. I've never like actually wrote down and like filled stuff in. So we're gonna do that, and we're gonna try to make it fun. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna try to make it fun. It's one of the things, like, you know, we owe the money. Like, it already happened, so now we just gotta pay it off. And a lot of times it's not fun paying it off, because you have to, you know, make certain sacrifices, cut certain expenses out to be able to do that. But it's something we gotta do. So that's gonna be it for this video. I can't wait to have a lot more updates for you guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and share the video. And if you're on this journey with me, please put it in the comments. Like, you don't have to put like, oh, I owe $15,000, but you could say like, hey, I paid $200 for my credit card today. I paid $100 on my credit card today. Shoot, I paid $10 on my credit card. A win is a win. A win is a win. So thank you for tuning in. Bye.
Love yours. No such thing. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. Love yours. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. No such thing. No such thing. Heart beating fast, let a nigga